Hi, welcome back to Cassie Mo Better Living and part 2 of An American Marriage. Okay, so now this discussion will be a little more detailed. There will be some spoilers, so if you haven't read the book, you may not want to listen to this. And this is my second time recording this video. The first time I recorded it, it was all over the place, and it was too much to talk about, and I was all over the place. It had no structure. I felt like I was rambling, and it didn't make sense. So, take 2 of part 2. For this part of the conversation, I am going to stick to the characters. So I'm going to go through each of the main characters and just basically say how I felt about them and why. Let's start with Celestial. Celestial is the wife, of course, a newlywed. She went to Spelman. She was an art student. She later went to grad school in New York for arts, and she sold exotic baby dolls, custom, unique baby dolls that she handcrafted. What I did not like about Celestial, and in the beginning, I already, maybe because I knew what the book was about, kind of, I already had an idea that she wasn't going to respond the way I would have liked her to respond to the situation. So, in the beginning, I thought she was stuck up. I thought that she was a little shallow. Meaning, she's only good as the surface happiness. So she's not one of those girls I didn't feel like, and I don't know what gave me this impression early in the beginning, but I didn't feel that she was one that would really stick it out and try to make it work through sickness and in health. So that was one of my issues with her. I was like, why did he choose her? But that was Celestial. And Tayari did make me think a little bit, because she, in one of her interviews with Pearl Clegg, she did mention that, you know, if Celestial was a white girl, we probably would have been praising her for being independent and taking charge and standing on her own and getting her life. But for some reason, we expect black women to be more ride or die, stand by your man type of thing. And I guess I could kind of agree with that statement. Although, no, I think I would have been, no matter the race, I think I would have had the same opinion. Whether she was white, black, Indian, or anything in between. So, yeah, I don't think the race had anything to do with it. I just think, my personal perspective and my sense of responsibility, I think I would, especially since Roy was innocent, I would have stuck by him. And I probably would have been a little uncomfortable in my everyday life, but I feel like that's a sacrifice that I could make for my husband. And I would have been taking that time to strengthen our relationship, to grow closer with him, to be there emotionally for him, because, you know, he's innocent. He's in jail for doing something that he didn't do. It totally took his life in another direction. It totally, you know, changed his world, and that's not fair. And so the least I could do is be supportive and nurturing and try to help him rebuild, you know, his life to something that he's proud of. So I just felt like she was all about me, me, me. Yeah, but I would not have chosen her. I loved her father. And at first her father did seem kind of, because her father was also in another relationship when he met his mother. And, when he met Celestial's mother, he was in another relationship. And so they were having an affair. And then he ended up leaving his wife for Celestial's mother. So, so surprisingly, you would think that the father would be more understanding with Celestial and Andre falling in love. But the father was like, no, you had all that time. You had all those years since y'all was babies, being bathed together in the sink. You had all that time to develop a relationship, or to recognize that you two had more than just a friendship. And even during those early years, the father kept saying, why are you running around trying to date? You have Andre, y'all have a good connection, y'all know each other. Why not pursue that? She didn't want that. But as soon as she married another man, that's when you realize that Andre is the one for you. Bye, Felicia. So, but the father, it was one point too, the father was pissed. And, you know, at one point he does say, you know, I tell you what Roy is going to see. He is going to see a wife who couldn't keep her legs closed and so-called friend who doesn't know what it is to be a man, let alone a black man. So that leads me to Andre. Punk ass Chauncey. Okay, that line is from, what is it? The Game. Tasha Mack. I didn't watch the later episodes, or part of the early episodes, and I think she was talking about her husband, and his name was Chauncey. And she used to call him Punk ass Chauncey. So my girls and I adopted that, so we just Pac-Man for short. Punk ass Chauncey. So whenever you hear the word Pac-Man, you know what I'm talking about. So Andre was a Pac-Man. And, you know, I just felt like he was so weak. Again, you've been her friend all this time, and you took your shot once in high school, and you weren't man enough to follow up then. You let her tell you, oh, it was a mistake. You let her say, oh, it was a mistake. Let's not let this happen again. And you punked out. You knew you wanted something more at that time, but you let it go on as a friendship, trying to bide your time till you felt like you could sneak in. And this was a low down, dirty time for you to try to sneak in, Andre. When her husband go to jail, really? And she's stupid. What kind of woman would accept you after that? You ain't no real man. That's how I would have felt about it, but I'm not that celestial or Andre, so my opinion does not matter. But that does say that Tayari wrote some good characters that I got issues with. So yeah, and Andre, and he went through his, you know, thing with women, and from what Celestial says, I don't even think that he really chose women that he felt like he could be compatible long term with. I felt like he was choosing young girls that didn't have much going on, that he knew it was just a fly-by-night thing, something to be entertained, until he was able to slip in and get Celestial, the one he really wanted. So there. But so that's that about them. I really, and then when Roy kicked Andre butt, I knew that was coming. And we all knew it was coming. And his father told him it was coming. His father told him he should accept it like a man, because that's what he deserved. And I don't even think he was much of a fighter anyway. And for him to basically say he let Roy kick his butt, well, I don't know if either one of them was much of a fighter or the macho type, but I felt like Roy had more bad intentions, you know, that he could let out on Andre. Whereas Andre knew that he was wrong, and all he had to do was take it, but bundle up and take it, you know. So protect yourself, guard your grill, and take it. So that's what he did. But so I definitely felt that that part was necessary. They couldn't just go, and the bull crap with them talking about they were gonna let Roy stay in Andre's house while Andre and Celestial live next door in Celestial's house. In what world, what reality did they think that was okay? And furthermore, why Celestial knew when she asked Roy for a divorce that she didn't want to be with him no more originally when he was still in jail. So why take all of that time, those next couple of years, and not tell him? At least you could have found some way to ease it in, let him know you were dating, and then, you know, some kind of way. But I think it was messed up that he had to come home and find out. It was messed up already what they did. But at least man up, both of y'all, and tell him before he get home, so he know what he getting out to, so he know what he had to look forward to, so he could make the proper choice. You know, women, we always, you know, get mad at men because they lie to us, and they may have another girlfriend or another situation that they're in, and they don't tell us the truth, and they take away from us the power of choice. They are not allowing us to choose based on the facts, based on the real. And that's what they did to Roy. I mean, he could have already had his plan B set up for when he got out, you know, had he known. But he was just lingering. Oh, she didn't divorce me, so she must still love me. Not so much. But, so yeah, that whole thing. And Roy wasn't innocent. And because we find out through things that he says that he cheated on her. So does that matter to you? That he cheated? I think in real life it may matter to me. I would have probably been there later for him. That's what he deserved. You know, blah, blah, blah. But in the book, in Tayari's world, No, I don't think that mattered. Because she accepted it. She knew the things that he did before, you know, during their marriage and before their marriage or whatever. And she may not have concrete evidence, but she had an idea and didn't want concrete evidence. She chose to ignore it. So, I mean, so I don't think that really went into play in their relationship as far as how she reacted in the end. I probably would have divorced him when he went in there if I knew he was cheating on me. You know, as soon as he got locked up, bye. I'm not sitting around for this because, you know, you're not worthy or whatever. Or I would not have made it a year and a half had I known he was buying lingerie for other women. No, that's not my idea of marriage. So, what do you think about that? That adds another dimension to the relationship that's not really talked about that much in the story, but it is mentioned, you know. And not only is it mentioned that he bought lingerie, so possibly he had an affair. And he even states, you know, that his wife knew, and he, you know, he never straight out said he had sex with other women, but we know that that's what he did. But on that same note, what did he do in jail? Now, this is something she just alludes to very briefly, but she says something about Roy saying that Celestial never questioned what he did in there, who he touched, or something like that. So, did he think he had 12 years, so he had to let out his frustrations while he was in an all-male facility? I don't know. And what does that mean? How much, you know, did he take it to the next level while he was in there because he thought that he was going to be in there for 12 years? Is that okay that he thought he was going to be in there for 12 years, so you got to do what you got to do? What you think? I don't know. I don't know. That's a hard one. But she did allude to that, but I guess she didn't want to get, that's a whole nother book, so she didn't want to go there. So she didn't say anything else about it. She just put that little thought in our mind, like, what was he doing in jail? And if he did choose to go to the other side in jail, again, does he deserve a second chance with Celestial? Does he deserve to be taken back into her life? You know, it's all easy to say from the outside looking in how we will respond to that. But in real life, how that go down? What you do when your husband come home? And if we talking about jail, what about the military? Or any periods of time where your husband has to be far away from you, whether he's in an environment with the opposite sex, with the same sex, just any opportunity that he has to be unfaithful, and he's in that situation for long periods of time. How does your trust play into that? How does your trust play into building your relationship, sustaining your relationship? How do you cope? How do you make sure that you still have an understanding, that you trust him, that you have faith that your partner will uphold your marriage vows? So, you know, all of that needs to be considered. Roy's mother. Now, she didn't like Celestial from the beginning either. And I don't know if if you could really say that she didn't like her. I just think she was uncomfortable, and she kind of had the idea of the type of woman that Celestial was, her foundation. Not that she was a bad woman, but because of how she was raised and her environment, would she be able to handle somebody like Roy that doesn't come from the same perfect background that she came from, that had a little bit more of a struggle, a different or alternative lifestyle than, you know, her traditional mother, father in the household, raising their only child, you know, well-off family in a city, as opposed to, you know, a struggling family in a small southern rural area. They have two different lifestyles. So, and I think she knew that because she didn't get a chance to explore that with Celestial, that Roy probably hadn't. She knew where his mind was. She knew what he considered, you know. Celestial was a good cat. She was arm candy. She came from a good family. On paper, that's what you want. So that's what he fell for. And his mother knew that you need something a little more substantial. So I don't think she really disliked Celestial. I just think she knew Celestial didn't have it in her. Roy's father, Big Roy, not the biological father. But, you know, I mean, how many men do that? And not only did he take in Roy, give him his name, and raise him as his own, but he also sacrificed. He wanted a child, but he knew Olive didn't want another child. Olive didn't want to go through that, so he sacrificed, you know, having his own blood son to raise her child, and he did a great job, and I think he was a good man for doing that. And I don't think he was really hurt in the end when he found out that Roy found his real father, because he knew. And I mean, you know, I think he did ask that question, wasn't I a good father to you? Did you ever want for anything? So I think he was satisfied with his relationship with Roy, and it was only, I don't think that Roy finding Walter interfered in their relationship. So, you know, again, I think that was good. I think Walter, the birth father, I think he, first of all, that was crazy how they bumped into each other, but, well, in prison. But he was from that area, and he was known to be into criminal activity, so I guess it's not too far off that he would be in jail in that area. It was more Roy's happenstance to be in that town to get arrested under those circumstances. So anyway, that whole mix up made it a little more believable than just out of the blue. He just happened to be in jail and his real father was his cellmate. That wouldn't have been, but the way she created the story around it, it made sense that, you know, that could happen. So, and I do like the role that he played while he was in there. No, he can't make up for the time that he wasn't there, and he admitted he wasn't shit, and that's that. So, but as far as what he was capable of doing, I think he did a great job as being his prison dad, or, you know, but being able to provide, be a role model and show him the ropes and keep him out of trouble as much as possible while he was in prison. So I think that was a little nice twist to the story. Who else? My next book is going to be Behind Closed Doors. Now that book is like a mystery thriller. So what I'm going to do there is I'm going to read the discussion questions, and that will be our conversation. I'm going to answer some of the discussion questions at the end of the book. And of course, as always, I always want you to comment down below. Let me know what you think of the book. If you read the book, if you want to read it based on what I've said about it, just let me know, you know, how you feel about the book. So Behind Closed Doors, I'm going to read the discussion questions and just answer the discussion questions as my review video. So stay tuned. I'll have that video up in probably about a week. Till then, like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time.